The ocean stretches black and restless. Somewhere amid the vast middle of nowhere, a fighter jet slams down onto the flight deck of a U.S. aircraft carrier. Sparks fly, arresting cables scream. Inside the ship shudders, then silence. On board, a pilot pulls off his helmet. His eyes are bloodshot. He has been flying for hours and is not done yet. Here is the question. How do fighter jet pilots sleep, eat, and survive on a warship that never stands still? Let us take you inside the steel maze where jet pilots live, train, rest, and try to sleep. Right now, multiple aircraft carriers are deployed in high-tension zones, one in the Red Sea, keeping an eye on Houthi drone launches, another patrolling near Taiwan, watching every move across the strait. If you are a fighter pilot on board, you are not just flying training runs. You are flying combat sorties, sometimes 3 to 4 a day. One pilot aboard the USS Eisenhower recently flew 4 missions in 18 hours. That is takeoff, refuel, combat or surveillance, landing, and then begin again. In between, maybe you get a protein bar and a 30-minute rest, if you are lucky. So when we talk about sleep on a carrier, we are not talking about 8 hours of quiet. We're talking about short bursts of recovery. Grab sleep when you can, where you can. And sometimes that means crashing still, half-dressed in your flight suit, boots on. And even if you are off duty, your body is not. You are still running on adrenaline. One alert call and you are suiting up again. The ship might go into general quarters. Flight ops could restart. The drone might appear on the radar and sleep. Well, that is gone. So why is this not just a story about beds or noise? It is about operating in a war zone, floating in hostile waters, where pilots live in a constant state of almost action. And that pressure, well, it builds and it wears you down. So how do they survive it? Well, let us start with the ship itself, the city they call home. An American aircraft carrier is not just a ship, it is a floating airbase, a steel city with a population of up to 5,000 people. That includes pilots, flight crews, mechanics, cooks, and even barbers. On top, the flight deck looks like chaos. Jets launching, crew in color-coded shirts rushing around, steam rising from the catapults. But below deck it is a maze. Narrow hallways, watertight doors, metal ladders, pipes overhead. Every inch of space has a job. Pilots live in this maze too. Their rooms are tucked behind security doors, often near the ready rooms. Those are the spaces where flight briefings happen. Pilots go there before every mission to check intel, weather, targets, and fuel loadouts. The ship runs on a 24/7 schedule. There is no night mode. The catapults fire at 2 a.m., just like they do at noon. And the ship does not just float. Pulses. Turbines hum constantly. Elevators move jets between decks. Every landing rattles the walls. So for fighter pilots, this is home. A loud, moving steel pressure cooker. So, what does daily life look like when they are not flying? Let us follow a pilot through their routine. There is no such thing as a normal day for a fighter pilot on a carrier. The schedule changes constantly. But one thing is always true. You are on the clock, and that clock never stops. Fighter pilots usually share a 2 or 4 person stateroom. Slightly better than the open berthing areas, where dozens of sailors sleep in one room. Still, space is tight. You can sit up in your rack, but just barely. There's a small locker for your gear and a shelf for essentials, toothpaste, a notebook, protein bars. Sleep on a carrier is like gold, rare, noisy and unpredictable. You do not get to choose when you sleep. You sleep when you can. That might be 2 a.m. after a mission, or 3 p.m. before your next flight. The ship does not care what time it is. Flight ops are 24/7, and the jet noise never stops. But here's the real problem. Adrenaline does not just turn off after a combat sortie or even after a high-stress landing. Your brain is still racing. You replay every move. You think about fuel levels, missed comms, close calls. Your body is down, but your mind is not. And then there are the sudden wake-ups. You might be off shift, mid-nap, when the 1MC, the ship's intercom, crackles to life. General quarters, all hands man your battle stations. You are up, boots on, half awake, adrenaline back. According to the Navy, chronic fatigue reduces reaction time, focus, and memory. After 17 to 19 hours awake, your performance drops to the same level of having a blood alcohol level of 0.05%. That is the legal limit in many countries. Pilots cannot afford that. Lives depend on alertness. So they train to rest fast, to reset quickly, to fall asleep on command, even in a metal box, shaking like a washing machine. And after sleep, you need fuel. Time to eat. Food on a carrier is not fancy, but it is fuel. And when you are flying fast jets and burning calories under pressure, you need every bit of it. There are 4 main meal times on the ship: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and midrats, short for midnight rations. Midrats are made for the night crews, and pilots coming off late missions think eggs, sausages, pasta soup, or rice. Comfort food at odd hours. Most pilots do not sit down for long meals. You eat what you can when you can. Grab a tray, will fit down, move on. You are not here to wine and dine. You are here to stay sharp. And yet there are favorites. Navy pilots will tell you the soft-serve ice cream machine is legendary. Some swear the Chili Mac is better than any restaurant. It is not gourmet, but it gets the job done. If you need snacks between flights, or toothpaste, or socks, or deodorant, you go to the ship's store. It is the carrier's mini supermarket. It sells everything from energy drinks and protein bars to razors, painkillers, notebooks, and playing cards. Supply is limited and items go fast. If a shipment of Pop-Tarts comes in, do not wait. Some pilots keep personal stashes in their racks. Granola bars, caffeine gum, instant coffee. Because when you are running on 4 hours of sleep and 30 minutes till lunch, you need something to keep you going. It is not about luxury, it is about survival and routine. But food can only solve so much. Let us talk about the mental side of this lifestyle. Flying a fighter jet? Stressful. Doing it off of a moving ship in a combat zone on 3 hours of sleep. That is a different level. Pilots do not just deal with physical fatigue. They deal with constant mental pressure. One bad decision in the air can cost lives, yours, your wingman's, or people on the ground. After a high-stakes mission, some pilots come back shaky, hands trembling, vision still tunneled. That is the afterburn of adrenaline. It can take hours to come down. And when they finally do, there is not much space to decompress. Some use music, noise-canceling headphones, and a playlist from home. Others write in notebooks, quick mission notes, reminders, or just random thoughts to clear the mind. A few talk quietly to the flight surgeon, the ship's medical officer, trained in mental health and fatigue management. There is also the gym. It is basic, just a few machines, some weights, and some rubber mats. But for many pilots, a quick workout is therapy. It is a way to reset, move the body, release tension, sweat out stress. What they do not have is time. You are never far from your next flight, next alert, next briefing. So every decompression method has to be fast, portable, and personal. And even when you are off duty, you are never really off. There is always a voice in the back of your head saying, "Stay sharp, stay ready," because in 5 minutes you might be airborne again. Let's look how tech is helping pilots deal with that pressure, especially when it comes to sleep. Modern carriers are loud, fast, and efficient, but they are not designed for comfort. But that is slowly changing. Newer Ford-class carriers like the USS Gerald R. Ford are built with better insulation. Sleep compartments are smaller but quieter. Thicker walls, sound-dampening materials, less vibration from the engine room. Some squadrons now issue smart earplugs. They block loud background noise but let through alarms or voices. Others use white noise generators, personal fans, or red-tinted nightlights to help reset the body clock. Lighting plays a role here too. Pilots can set LED lighting in their rooms to simulate sunrise or sunset. That signals the brain when it's time to wind down. Even if it's 2 p.m., sleep masks are standard, melatonin is common, some use wearable sleep trackers to log patterns and adjust routines. And yes, there's discussion of installing map pods, quiet capsule-like spaces on some carriers for quick 20-minute recharge breaks. Nothing fancy, just tactical tools to grab moments of rest in a schedule that barely permits it. The objective isn't luxury, it's function. Every second of rest improves alertness, focus, and safety in the cockpit. Because in their world, a tired pilot isn't just slow. A tired pilot is dangerous. And that's why training matters too. Fighter pilots don't just deal with fatigue. They're trained for it from the start of flight school. The Navy exposes pilots to sleep-deprived conditions. You might fly a simulator after staying up all night. Instructors watch how well you react under pressure. With minimal rest, it's not punishment, it's preparation. The concept is simple. Combat doesn't care if you're tired, so you train your body and brain to push through. Pilots also learn crew resource management, or CRM, how to work with others under stress. If your brain is foggy, your wingmen might catch a mistake. If you miss a radio call, your team picks it up. You're not alone, but you have to pull your weight. Over time, pilots develop a kind of sixth sense. They know when they're slipping, when fatigue is affecting their awareness, judgment, or reflexes, and they're trained to speak up, ask for rest, or trade shifts when needed. It's not about being tough. It's about being honest and operationally safe, because in the air at Mach 1.5, there is no room for ego. This training, mental, physical, and tactical, is what keeps pilots alive, even when their bodies scream for sleep. And after all of that, it comes down to one thing. We watch fighter jets blast from the carriers and think, wow, speed, power, precision. But behind that cockpit glass is a human being, running on 4 hours of sleep, pushing through noise, pressure, and stress that most of us will never know. These pilots don't live in luxury. They live in steel boxes, they eat fast, sleep late, and train harder than anyone. Not because it's easy, but because it matters. So the next time you see a jet streak across the sky from a U.S. carrier, remember this. That pilot probably crawled into a narrow rack just hours ago, still sweating from his last flight, hoping for 2 hours of real sleep before the next alert. What part of life on a carrier would be hardest for you? The noise, the sleep, or the constant readiness?